Okay. When he was telling his story, he started crying. He said that because of you guys, I've been able to buy a house worth 25 lakhs. And with my 10th standard, educational background, I didn't even dream of doing that ever. And so, when we heard that, I mean, that is the kind of difference we were able to make to some of them. And when you do that, you earn the loyalty that cannot be replaced by anything else. So, and we didn't do anything special for that guy, right? We just stuck to our principles. That we have to make our channel successful, we have to build that trust, we have to build that loyalty and deliver what we promise, not cheat them. And I think today we are there that, photographers, even though some of them may not give us business because of various factors, maybe pricing, maybe whatever it is, credit, but nobody can say that we have cheated them ever or we have been unfair to them or our product is not the best product. So that part we have done, initially.
Peeyush, I want to change tracks a little bit. I want to end again on a related topic, but before we go there, you mentioned something interesting about hiring the person who's running your printing, who's today your VP of manufacturing, right? So in a new business, I mean, it's hiring is tough everywhere.
Sure.
For startups, it's really hard. I mean, Naveen and I are involved with some work related to hiring. And, but especially when you're trying to recruit people for a new business, which is really difficult to even describe to your employees,
sure,
because it's a completely new model, there's really nothing like that. How was your experience in the early days of hiring, and how did you sell to your employees, how did you select your employees, and how do you keep them motivated in the early days?
Yeah, I think I can proudly say this, that again I'll come to your point, but today as I stand here, I can proudly say that our attrition levels are extremely low, both on the software and technology side of things as well as on sales and manufacturing and design services. And I think I'll tell you why. So, on the software side, I was fortunate that I had a few engineers who used to work for me who I had developed a very close relationship with, and they just came on board as first 10 engineers. And I think for a startup, starting with a set of people who you can trust, it just makes a huge difference, because the first 1 year, 1.5 years is when you build the culture. You build the fundamental, the base of your startup. And if you get that wrong initially, then you have a bad start, right? So getting the right team in place initially is very, very important, right? I'll also touch upon with my own experience, and I think many of you guys here, and having seen an entrepreneur's life over the last 7 years, it's always good to have a co-founder, right? Doing this thing alone is really tough, mentally, physically, everything. If you have a co-founder, at least you have the motivation, you can share a lot of burden, you can share the joy, share the burden, everything. So it's always good to have 2 or maybe 3 people starting a company and build a really solid core team. Be it in the software side of things or in another side of things. In our case, Kultar was a part of the core team. So were some other non-techie guys. The techie team, of course, was a core team, but we had some really good non-techie guys to run other parts of our business who were part of the core team. And once you have that core team in place, then getting people on board, though our business was a different type of business, in printing operations, even till today, we can hire from other industries and train them, right? In design services, we do need a certain skill set, they should know Photoshop, but we do have a training program there as well. So it is possible to train people, but getting the right people with the right culture and attitude is what is more important. Sales also the same thing. We actually interview 30 to 40 sales people to hire one sales guy at the sales executive level. Right? For sales managers, the ratio is even higher. So we are very particular about hiring the people with the right attitude, with the right culture. And I think that's the biggest challenge. And if you overcome that, then training them for a specific skill is easier, right? Same thing in software. I mean, software, of course, the availability of people is much higher. It's more standardized. You want a Python developer or a Java developer or a web developer or a designer. So it's more structured, it's a more mature industry. But I would say any other place also, if you're hiring, I'm sure Flipkart goes through that, we went through that. Getting the right people with the right mindset, right attitude, right culture is very important. And your culture evolves. It's not that what you said in the first year, it evolves, but it should evolve in the right direction.
Interesting. I think culture definitely evolves, and now you're over a 1,000 people company in 7 years, so must have been an amazing journey. We have about 15 more minutes, so I want to leave out some good time for questions from the audience. I'm sure there will be some good, but before I get to that, I want to ask one last question from my side, and which is, you have had this incredible journey, but you've essentially created a new market, a market that didn't really exist before in India, definitely not in the organized sector. Through that, you have solved so many interesting problems in infrastructure, in processes, in technology, in channel development, I mean, just name it, right?
Yeah.
And you have reached this great milestone today in terms of the growth, the size of the team. So I guess the obvious question in many people's mind, my mind for sure, is what's next for Convera? I mean, I guess I don't want to ask you the typical VC question of where do you see yourself 5 years from now, but as someone who's following new business models in India, let me put it differently, right? I'm really keen to see where this business model heads, and you have built some interesting expertise around creating a new business model.
Sure.
So do we see Convera doing some other things, not totally different, maybe not selling widgets, as they say, but something in the live market or some other new things that we will see from Convera in the coming years?
Yeah, we are constantly evolving, right? And I think one important lesson that, again, you must have read it thousands of times, we need to keep on reinventing ourselves, right? As a company, as individuals, right? What I knew 7 years back when I started, today the game, I'm a techie, I'm passionate about technology. Things are very different, right? Android, iOS did not exist 7 years back. Cloud was, not really there. I mean, it was there in some form, but not the way it is today. So you have to be on top of the game, whether it's a business or your own area of domain expertise. And I think if you stop doing that, then you become obsolete. And that obsolescence hits you even faster today when things are moving very fast, and we are seeing that with companies in the US. If you stay behind a year, you're gone basically from the face of the earth. And so, we are also trying to constantly evolve, and I'm sure most of you would have not seen our website, over a period of time, but every year our website has been changing, which tells us that we're trying to do something new. We may not be absolutely precise. Earlier our initial focus was photo books, selling photo books to photographers. Third year onwards, we started focusing on providing an online platform for photographers. We have a product called Vivio, which is like a WordPress type of thing, which allows photographers to publish a photo website within, which is an e-commerce enabled photo website, can be used for collaboration with the end customers. They can basically publish it in 15 minutes, right? Off late, last couple months, we have released a product called Photographer Directory. I'm sure most of you have heard of Zomato. So we are building a Zomato for photographers, which is an online directory listing and search engine for photographers. It's going to be, it's already live. We are building the database, and it's going to be an ad-supported model there. So we are also looking at new paradigms, and I think really, I can actually answer what Amit asked me, where I see ourselves in 5 years, and I think that part has been very clear to us, right? Where I would be extremely happy and proud in 5 years if all you guys, all consumers, if they think of photography and they think, okay, Canberra is the place to go if I need anything for photography, whether it's finding photographers, whether it's getting products, whether it's managing my pictures, whatever it is to do with photography, if we can be thought of as Kodak used to be 10 years back, then I would consider ourselves successful. So
that's an amazing vision, and I hope your vision is beyond India as well.
Yeah, I mean, photography is universal. We have explored options to do things in other markets. More than the delivery, I'll tell you I think it's a good point, maybe we can touch upon it quickly.